Oh, that nice little music is just to remind us that it's Winter Weather Awareness Week, and we're getting you ready for the S word. We already got a sneak peek of the snow this weekend, and we could have more in our future. True story, fall, winter, my favorites.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true. It's a true story.
Yep,
I'm ready.
It's just fitting that, of course, we're talking about this as soon as we're rolling into the winter months. So I know it's something that a lot of people, have been kind of dreading, and I've heard a lot of people say, and I believe this too, this was a great fall.
It was a beautiful fall.
But it's done. It is not very fall-like for the foreseeable future.
And I think that was the problem, is that it just ended so quickly.
We got spoiled.
We
People didn't realize how wonderful a season it was.
Yeah.
And now it's gone.
The rug pulled right out from under us.
Yeah, essentially, and just like with all the leaves on the trees, it was like, poof, they're gone. Everyone was raking them up. I was raking up all mine, and we're still looking at some trees with leaves on there, but I mean, gosh, it is not going to be enjoyable to be doing yard work, which, again, I was saying, get it taken care of before it gets this cold, because that's just going to keep putting on the back burner.
I should have listened to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
So feel free
I've
to
got
come on
nothing
over.
here.
Oh yeah, I'll come over. I'm off this Friday, so I can help you out.
All right, perfect.
But we want to talk to you guys about getting prepared for everything winter weather, regardless of whether or not you want to be ready for it. And something that a lot of people look at every year and will take into account with their beliefs of what we're going to be looking at for the winter weather is it going to be a bad winter? Is it going to be a cold or snowy winter? And a lot of times we always hear the almanac forecast. And for some people, you may not know this, there's actually two very popular publications that issue winter weather forecast each and every year. We have the Farmer's Almanac and the Old Farmer's Almanac. So they are two completely different publications, but they have both been forecasting the weather for, over 200 years. So very popular. A lot of people use them for other things. They have some pretty cool recipes, some life hacks, and a bunch of other cool things. If you really are into astronomy, there's a ton of stuff in these books, but they get a lot of attention for their winter weather forecast. For this year, the Farmer's Almanac is projecting an unseasonably cold, snowy winter. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. And then for the Old Farmer's Almanac, they're actually looking at a cold and snowy winter. But again, these forecasts, they put them out months ahead of time. It's already very hard to do these long-range forecasts. And again, very vague in, what they're saying, but certainly something that a lot of people take into consideration. Is there much truth to it? Well, again, both of these publications, they've been around for over 200 years. They both claim about an 80 to 85% accuracy, which is pretty interesting. But they both have unique ways of forecasting, looking at solar activity, sunspots, looking at planetary sciences, and of course they have their own ways of projecting, the weather and forecasting. But something, again, it's nice to read, but myself as a meteorologist don't take these forecasts into account for our weather, but we do pay attention to some things that happen, a little bit closer to time rather than, several months down the road. Of course, talking about El Nino, La Nina, and this year we are looking at, again, kind of a triple dip into that La Nina. That doesn't necessarily mean that we see, very snowy, cold winters. But again, what we have been keeping a close eye on that has been a little bit, closer in time is the fact that our upper level patterns and the shifts that we've seen. And anytime we're talking about, some cold air coming in from the poles, you hear the word, polar plunge. You hear a lot of times the polar vortex too. And essentially what we're looking at here is just a difference in the winds and overall just temperatures, cold air to the north, and eventually, we could start to see some of this cold air drift to the south going into this time of the year. And we are looking at what's considered to be a pretty active, kind of wavy pattern with our jet stream, which is allowing some of that cooler air to kind of pull off south from the poles, which is allowing for some very cold conditions to start this week. Not only that, looking like that'll be the case for us as we head into the end of the week. We're actually going to have some colder weather. So we are going to start to see more of these changes, and really just a shock to the system considering how it was well above average to start the month for us, and we are essentially flipping the script. The good news is things are going to be pretty calm to start, but we are nowhere near the coldest weather so far this week. The warmest day is going to be today for us this week. We're actually going to see a little bit more sunshine as we head into the weekend, but it's also looking like our wettest day will come tomorrow. Now, we will see a lot of big changes come our way. The good news is we're primarily going to be looking at that of rain as we head into your Tuesday. Right now, now, though, sitting at 35 degrees, a much colder start to the day for some of us out there. A lot of places contesting the low freezing mark, as we're going to continue to see these temperatures hover at or below the freezing mark for the next few hours, gradually clearing out with the sun and showing some warmer weather for us this afternoon compared to now, but really not as much as warmth as what we would like to see. Highs are only going to be in the low to mid 40s for us today, and those mid 40s likely just a select few down to the south. We'll continue to stay dry, though, as we'll slowly see those clouds return to central Ohio, but we're really not going to be looking at much of a warm-up as we head into the rest of the week. Going into Tuesday, we're going to see this next system come into town, bringing a chance of rain late into the morning, and then perhaps a few snowflakes. But as the day goes on, more than likely we'll see that of just some plain rain, and then perhaps late again Tuesday night, we could see some of this rain gradually change over into some wet snowflakes out there, but certainly not looking at much potential for, again, any measurable snowfall. We're not going to be talking about that, but some measurable rain will be possible, and boy, we still need it even after a very, very soggy end to last week. We are going to continue to see these temperatures drop from the 40s to the 30s as we head into the weekend. So we have some even bigger changes waiting for us as we head into the end of the week. Highs are only going to be in the low to mid 30s for us from Friday through Sunday. And we could easily see our morning temperatures into the low 20s for us, perhaps a few places into the teens before we start to warm back up heading into the latter half of the following week. Clay?